The Cold War was a period of intense political and ideological tension between two global superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union. It began shortly after World War I and lasted for several decades, roughly from 1947 to 1991. Unlike previous wars, the Cold War was not fought through direct large-scale battles between the two sides. Instead, it was a conflict of influence, power, and ideology. The United States promoted capitalism and democracy, while the Soviet Union supported communism. After the war, Europe was divided into two main blocs. Western Europe aligned with the United States, while Eastern Europe came under Soviet influence. This division became known as the Iron Curtain, separating the continent politically and ideologically. One of the most visible symbols of this division was the Berlin Wall. Built in 1961, it separated East Berlin from West Berlin and became a powerful representation of the Cold War divide. Both sides formed military alliances. The United States and its allies created NATO, while the Soviet Union formed the Warsaw Pact. These alliances increased tensions and created a balance of power. A key feature of the Cold War was the nuclear arms race. Both sides developed and stockpiled nuclear weapons capable of causing massive destruction. The concept of mutually assured destruction meant that if one side launched nuclear weapons, the other would respond, leading to total devastation. Several crises brought the world close to nuclear war. One of the most dangerous moments was the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962. The Soviet Union placed nuclear missiles in Cuba, close to the United States. After tense negotiations, both sides agreed to remove the missiles, avoiding war. The Cold War was also fought through proxy wars. Instead of fighting each other directly, the United States and the Soviet Union supported opposing sides in conflicts around the world. Examples include wars in Korea and Vietnam. The space race was another important aspect of the Cold War. Both superpowers competed to achieve major milestones in space exploration. The Soviet Union launched the first satellite and sent the first human into space, while the United States later landed the first humans on the moon. Technology and science advanced rapidly during this period. Both sides invested heavily in research, leading to innovations in computing, engineering, and communication. Propaganda played a major role. Each side tried to promote its system as superior and influence global opinion. Media, films, and education were used to shape public perception. Life during the Cold War was often marked by fear and uncertainty. Many people worried about the possibility of nuclear war. Governments built shelters and prepared for potential attacks. Over time, tensions began to ease. Policies like Tente reduced hostility between the two sides. Leaders engaged in negotiations to limit nuclear weapons and improve relations. One of the most important strategies during the Cold War was the policy of containment. The United States aimed to stop the spread of communism without directly attacking the Soviet Union. This strategy influenced many decisions, including involvement in conflicts around the world. Espionage, or spying, played a huge role during this period. Both sides created powerful intelligence agencies, such as the CIA in the United States and the KGB in the Soviet Union. These organizations gathered information, conducted secret operations, and influenced global events. Another major event was the formation of the Marshall Plan. The United States provided economic aid to Western European countries to help them rebuild after World War I. This not only strengthened their economies, but also reduced the influence of communism in the region. In contrast, the Soviet Union strengthened its control over Eastern Europe by establishing communist governments. Countries like Poland, Hungary, and East Germany became part of the Soviet sphere of influence. The Cold War also led to technological competition beyond space. Both sides invested heavily in military technology, including missiles, submarines, and early computer systems. This competition accelerated scientific progress. The arms race reached a dangerous level with the development of hydrogen bombs, which were far more powerful than the atomic bombs used in World War I. This increased the risk of global destruction. Cultural influence was another battleground. Music, films, sports, and media were used to promote each side's values. International events like the Olympics became opportunities to demonstrate superiority. The Cold War also affected everyday life. In many countries, people were taught to prepare for nuclear attacks. Drills and emergency plans became common, especially in schools. Another important development was the policy of Tente in the 1970s. This period saw reduced tensions, arms control agreements, and improved communication between the United States and the Soviet Union. However, tensions rose again in the 1980s before eventually declining. Economic problems and political changes in the Soviet Union weakened its global position. A key figure in ending the Cold War was Mikhail Gorbachev. He introduced reforms such as glasnost openness and perestroika restructuring, which aimed to modernize the Soviet system. These reforms led to greater freedom, but also weakened the control of the government. As a result, many Eastern European countries moved away from communism. In 1989, the Berlin Wall was torn down, symbolizing the end of division in Europe. This was one of the most powerful moments of the Cold War's conclusion. The Cold War eventually came to an end in 1991 with the collapse of the Soviet Union. This marked the end of the division between East and West and the conclusion of one of the longest conflicts in modern history. The Cold War shaped global politics, alliances, and conflicts for decades. Its effects are still visible today in international relations and global power structures.